So get ready, be safe, and stay healthy. So you want to get ready preparing for, information on how to get ready for emergency preparedness in case there is a disaster, whether it's a natural disaster, a local disaster, or weather related, or even anything that might not be a natural disaster. So this presentation basically is going to go over some of the information that you will need and get prepared in case something is to happen, whether it's in your home, in the community, or in your neighborhood. So we're going to get ready, we're going to be safe, and we're going to stay healthy. So I do have some objectives. So I want you to be able to explain the importance of preparing for emergencies. We're going to discuss and list some types of emergencies that can occur in your community. And we're going to create personalized emergency plans. We're going to identify what you will need to include in those kits. I do have a demonstration table here with a kit. I have always had a family kit prepared for a long time because of emergencies. I was a paramedic for a long time, so I was always prepared for those types of emergencies, seeing out in the field actually when you're not prepared. And then we're going to describe methods for sharing preparedness, knowledge, and skills with others. So you're going to take this information, you're going to go home, you're going to show your family and your friends and your community what you learned tonight and how to be prepared for an emergency. And then I want you to identify key sources of reliable information, and I do have slides that is very informative that'll show you how to identify an alert system, what resources that you can call to get certain information, such as FEMA, such as Mass 211. We'll go over all that as the slides pop up, but at least you'll have those resources. And there's also a resource sheet here that has some of them listed, so hopefully you grabbed one of those as well. And it looks like this in the front. So get ready, be safe, stay healthy. Burlington is preparing. Are you? So join us in preparing in these households for in our neighborhoods for a strong and resilient community, because when communities come together, the resilience is there so that everybody is following the same plan, doing the same thing, and you are aware of what's going on in your community and being informed. So why prepare? Is anybody here prepared? How many of you have a plan? Only one. That's very good, because I can tell you that this is not abnormal to not have a plan. So this is why we're having this presentation. So why prepare? There are many reasons why people prepare, but here are some slides to show you that being prepared because, my family, I want my family to be ready. Maybe you're preparing for, family, friends, and your future. Or you're preparing because you believe in the safety of your community. So I have the Burlington Police Department and the Fire Department, and they do some, some trainings and stuff, and they try to bring the community together. So some resources and information. And then maybe you're just, you're a senior and you're home alone, and, you're looking for some safety tips, maybe some health related knowledge. There are 6 principles to this. Principle 1 is preparedness, which increases the resilience for individuals and communities. Principle 2 is social connectedness. So it's very important to make sure that you strengthen your bonds with your community to strengthen preparedness with your community. Principle 3 goes over individuals are the most knowledgeable about their own needs, especially during an emergency. And Principle 4, individuals and communities ready with plans, supplies, and practice will be more able to address the needs and challenges during an emergency or an event. And then Principle 5, basic safety skills help to prevent illness. They also prevent injury during, before, and after an emergency. And then Principle 6, we have maintaining everyday health contributes to maintaining health after an emergency. So hopefully you get out of this presentation tonight on how to be informed, how you're going to make a plan, how you're going to build a kit, and also get involved. And you are all being involved by being volunteers, so this is great. Being informed. We do have a mass alert system. Is anybody familiar with that at all? You can get the Massachusetts alerts on your phone. Yeah, and emails and such. Yep. Yeah, are you familiar with that at all? And then we have in the town of Burlington, we have Connect 5. So right now we have, we'll be updating our system, I believe as of April 1st. And so right now it is Connect 5, and that is the website that you can go on, and you need to register onto this alert system for Burlington. And then we, of course, have the Burlington Police Department. They do have a non-emergency number. And the Burlington Fire Department also has a non-emergency number. But the Burlington Fire Department is also the Office of Emergency Management. And Mike Patterson, he is the director. And then the TV and radio stations, they do partner up with a lot of the media, Twitter, emails. They do with social media quite a bit, so you have to, depending on what station you're watching or what station you get. Not everybody has cable, not everybody has basic channels, so you just want to make sure that you find out if those stations that you have on your TV do also have the emergency alert system on there as well. So here's some online and social media resources. So we have the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. So I put some of these, which you can put in notes because I don't have anything on like the document holder here with this information. So that's why I have the notes for if you want to write some of these down. We have the MEMA Facebook page. There's Twitter, MEMA Twitters. We have the Mass 211, and they cover, they will connect you to services, essential services, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So some of those services are for mental health issues, maybe elder care, housing, transportation, and then also youth and adolescent services, and then also addiction and recovery. So they're very resourceful. If you can go on to that website and kind of take a look around to see what kind of resources that they may have more than that I mentioned, and just get yourself familiarized with that. And it does cover the Metro Boston area, which covers Burlington. We also have the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is known as FEMA, and the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Center is listed here, as well as the Burlington Police Department, because they do Twitter. They also have a website, and then they can, most of the information they can Twitter out to you. So if there's an emergency, you can go on their website. They would have it listed there, and also they would be, if you Twitter, they would Twitter as well. And is anybody familiar with Next Door Neighbor? Is anybody, really? Is anybody on Nextdoor? Great. This is, not too many people know about Nextdoor. It's just really kind of taking off in the past 6 to 8 months. I got an email from one of my neighbors, and I registered, and it was interesting to see that all neighbors in my neighborhood were all registered under Nextdoor. So if something happened to one of my neighbors, they would put out an email, and everybody would be involved. They schedule community preparedness, they schedule a crime watch. So there's all different kinds of things that they will put under there. They also have other sites for if you want to buy something, if somebody's selling something, if there's a lost dog, if there's an elderly person in their neighborhood that might need help. They put these services onto this website. I highly suggest that you get on there, and you'll be amazed to find out how many of your neighbors might be already connected. So you want to make a plan. So what types of plans do you need? So obviously you would need communication plan, and a communication plan would probably consist of this card here that I passed out, this small card. You can fill this out. It's pocket size. You can fold it in half. You can make copies of this for your family members. You can also leave this in your wallet, so if something happened to you, the paramedics or whoever family member would be able to locate this and at least get other contacts for you and your family. You want to make sure that you label your contacts. A lot of people put down just the phone number, but they don't put down who that is. Is it your mother? Is it your father? Is it your spouse? Is it a neighbor? So make sure that you list that. Also, you want to make sure that you text, because calls may not go through during an emergency. So if you text, most of the time a text would go through versus a phone call going through on your cell phone. Landlines are very important in an emergency. I don't know if anybody ever experienced an emergency with the power going out and you're having to use your cell phone that's not charged, or a phone that is a cordless phone. Those require power. So your cell phone, you can get text messages on. You can probably charge it in your car. You can charge it on a battery pack, which of course you should probably make sure each month that it is charged. And I'm talking about the portable charges, which some of you probably have. And make sure that those are charged every month. They don't hold a charge. You can't charge it and then just not check it each month, because that'll eventually over time will lose that charge. So text messages are good. And voicemail, you want to make sure that you leave a voicemail that you're safe. So if you're going to leave it on your cell phone, would be good, because most people will call you on your cell phone during an emergency. So it's really good to have a voicemail on there and say, hey, this is Chris. I'm okay, just to let you know I'm staying at blah, 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 or you don't even have to put that on there. You can just say I'm safe, I'll call you when I can. And make sure that you put the date down, because you can say that the day before an event, but then during and after the event, you lose family members. Or like, where'd they go? This was 2 days ago. So just update your voicemail if you're to leave one. And then you want to make sure that you have an evacuation plan. So the evacuation plan also consists of preparing for people with disabilities. I didn't print out any. The packets that I'm going to show you are probably about 5 to 10 pages long. So I just wanted to show you that this is information about for patients with disabilities, and also how to charge in case of an emergency. And that website is on this page here. So you can get all this information and actually download these packets. Very good resources. So if you're going out of town, you want to make sure that you have a plan. Again, you're going to leave a voicemail for your family. You're going to text somebody and let them know that you're either out of town, where you're staying. If you're going to be in your home, maybe you have a shelter in place in your home and you can't leave. So you want to make sure that you have access to give that information out to your family and friends. And then the Neighborhood Emergency Center, you want to locate or call in your town. Where is the Neighborhood Emergency Center? They may have a shelter there. There may be a place where you can go and power up items such as your cell phones or medical devices. And pet preparedness. People forget about this. There are actually stickers that you can put on your windows, and I think that a lot of the veterinarians and some grooming places, actually, I've seen them there too. They're bright colored stickers that you can put on the window to let the paramedics, the firefighters, and whoever comes to your home that there's a pet in your home. And you also want to make sure that you get them prepared. So you're going to have to pack a little kit for them as well, with food, if they need any medication, and things like that. So you want to make sure that you prepare for that. So here's just some items. Again, this little kitty with the kit. So you want to make sure that you pack for your pet, get them prepared. Maybe you're going to a shelter that allows animals, so you want to make sure that they're ready to go. And then you have the community coming together here, talking about a plan. What are we going to do in case this happens? What if our neighborhood floods out? You have that plan. Again, that neighborhood access, that next door, is a very good resource. And then devastation after losing your home, say in a tornado or a hurricane, is devastating. And it doesn't just touch, it touches every socioeconomic class. And nobody is free from any kind of devastation or emergency. And you want to have your documents. So that document holder, that plastic bag that has says document holder on there. There are things that you can do, such as digitalize some of your documents, important documents. Your deed to your mortgage from your home. You want to make sure that you scan your photos. There's iCloud now, and somebody made a really good tip about the pictures you have on your wall that can't be replaced. So before anything happens, you may want to go take a picture. You may not have negatives, you may not have it on a CD, but you can always take pictures with your cell phone and have it digitized so it goes up in iCloud, so those pictures aren't lost. That is the biggest thing that everybody says in an emergency that is more devastating, is to lose their personal belongings, but those pictures, over the years of family members, maybe family members have passed, and you want to be able to relate back to that. And then also you want to make sure you have your other important documents, your copy of your license, your social security. All this can be taken on your cell phone and put in iCloud, which is very safe. And then you can also either put it on a CD and maybe keep it somewhere that's in a waterproof, maybe your document holder, or you have a safety deposit box you want to put it in. It's really a good idea to make sure that all these documents, so you don't lose this, is copied and put somewhere safe. That's waterproof, preferably, and those bags are waterproof, so you can use those. The financial emergency plan, this includes this packet here. Again, this is another 10-page packet. This has so much information about banking, about your financial assets and things like that. So this can be downloaded, and I put the website up there for you. It goes directly to the document page, so you'll be able to have that information, download it. Again, you can put it on a thumb drive or zip drive, and you can take it with you and put it in your document holder too, so you'll have that information. But anything you want to know about financial is in this packet here. Make sure also that you have insurance, property and flood insurance. I've seen people not get flood insurance that may be in a little lower area and ended up getting their basement was getting flooded. So you want to make sure that you have coverage. If you have a sump pump and you're getting water in your basement, more than likely it would be a good idea to have flood insurance. And then not just that, but don't pack your stuff in paper boxes. Put them in plastic bins and label them and have them clear so that you can see what's in there. And then put them on top for the stuff that you don't want on the bottom. So if you have stuff that's very important to you, you want to pack that on the top, or easy access items. So it's very, very, very important to have insurance and also a list of the items that you have. I know that I packed some boxes, put them in my basement, and I have them all labeled, and I also have pictures of my stuff. So again, it's just all being about being prepared with the stuff that's very important to you. So building a kit. So the shelter-in-place kit basically this is more of a home kit. The to-go kit, that's what I want to call this, is the to-go kit. But the shelter-in-place kit, there is this paper here, should have that information of what items that you should include in your shelter kit, shelter-in-place kit, and your to-go kit. And this information too is on other websites. It'll give you a list of maybe some different items. So I would look at a couple of different lists and whatever's important that you think you should pack in your backpack based on your family needs. Then I would say just combine them and look and see what you need and pick and choose. Back to being safe, understanding your surroundings, keeping food and water safe, and learn basic health skills, and also car safety. We'll go over some of that. So your surroundings, we have different things that we can talk about on surroundings, such as home safety, environmental safety, utility safety, and carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide and fire detectors, make sure that they are ready to go, that they're working, that they have the batteries, that they're needed. I know some homes have the electrical ones. Power goes out, they go out. So make sure that you have battery backup in all of those, or purchase ones that are battery. Even carbon monoxide detectors that plug into the wall, power's out, they're out. But if they have a battery backup, make sure that they're nice new batteries. I would suggest changing your batteries once a year. This time when we have the go ahead with the clock, putting ahead the time, or however you want to do it. You want to do fall back or spring forward, that's up to you, but make sure that those batteries are changed at least once a year and everything is working properly. And even if you have medical devices, such as portable CPAPs or portable medical equipment, you want to make sure that those batteries are also charged, and you want to make sure that you have fresh batteries so that if they do need to be replaced, that you have those in your to-go kit. Environmental safety, you want to make sure that you want to watch for flooded areas. You don't want to drive through any water that is moving. You don't want to walk through any water that is moving. And this is like one of the big, you see on TV all the time, people driving and they're walking through water that is moving, they get stuck. Then it's a big, during an emergency, it's really important that the paramedics and the firefighters and the police aren't spending time pulling people out because I just want to get from point A to point B. They have other things in an emergency that they have to tend to. So if you see moving water 6 inches or high, please do not walk and drive through. Any down power lines. Do not touch them, don't move them. You want to call the fire department to have them come and take a look. Maybe they might have to look at the transformer. If that's on fire, you want to call the fire department. Again, you don't want to touch anything that is live. Even if it's a cable wire and you know it's your cable coming off your house, if that's down, it could be touching something that's live. So you don't want to make sure you go over there and touch anything. Plus, if there's water on the ground, you're in for a surprise. You want to make sure in extreme cold and extreme heat. This is another thing. People run out. Make sure that you have jackets for the cold. Make sure that you have another set of clothes. Prepare for the weather, because you don't know how hot it is out there until you're actually standing out there, because you're out of your house for a few hours. So just be aware of what time of year it is, and just pack those kinds of clothes in your to-go kit. And then you want to make sure that you want to call the electric company, not your fire department or 911, when your power goes out. I don't know if it's Eversource here, because we have Eversource up in New Hampshire too. Is it Eversource? They are phenomenal during a storm. They actually will send you an alert on your phone, and you have to sign up for that on their website. I would highly recommend you do that, because they also will let you know where the power outages are. During a flood, during anything, you should know where your shut-off switches are. That doesn't mean go and shut off your water. You just need to know where it is. So if you have a broken pipe, or if something's squirting out of your basement, you know it's the water, then you can go and make sure you know where that shut-off valve is. As far as gas is concerned, don't touch anything with the gas. Get out of your home, call 911, and the fire department and the gas company will go. I can't tell you that we had a gentleman many years ago who decided he was going to turn off the gas, and what happened was he turned it up, and there was a leak, and somebody smoked in the house, and thank God that they were upstairs when the person was smoking downstairs on the opposite end of where the gas leak was. It blew their house up. And literally, they all survived, believe it or not. But again, I would highly suggest anything with gas, please call the gas company. Don't touch that. And water, just know where the switch is. You don't have to turn it off in an emergency unless there's water spurting out of your pipes. Carbon monoxide is a very, you don't smell it. So you have to be very careful with carbon monoxide. So I know a lot of people that have gas. I'm one of them, have a gas fireplace. And a lot of people feel they need to put their gas stoves on when they run out of power. Do not do that. Please don't do that. The carbon monoxide, as far as if it's snowing outside, you want to make sure that if it's 6 inches or higher, or if it's up to your gas pipe, your exhaust pipe in your car, you want to make sure that it's cleared out, so that you're not breathing in the carbon monoxide as your car is running and you're sitting in a car with the windows closed. So you want to make sure that the pipe is clear from your car before you take out with your kit and you go where you're going. You want to make sure that the pipe is clear. You want to make sure that if you're going to sit in the car, let it run for a few minutes alone with you outside, and then you can get in with the window open for a few minutes to clear out the gases from the pipe, and then issues should be safe to go. Carbon monoxide's kind of funny. You're going to feel very tired, you're going to feel dizzy, you're going to feel faint, you're going to feel weak, and you could be very confused. So those are the signs and symptoms of carbon monoxide. And another thing is what's great is to have that in your home. Those carbon monoxide detectors saved our lives about 10 years ago, along with the dog, believe it or not. We have a dog that went crazy because we had somebody come and service our heating. At that time we had oil heat, and there was smoke, I guess, backed up into the pipe, came into the house, got to the basement, the door to our kitchen from the basement, and the dog smelt the smoke before our carbon monoxide kicked in. So God rest his soul, my dog passed away. But they sense things like that. But the carbon monoxide detector went off. It's loud, and in probably about 5 or 10 more minutes, it would have gone off. So carbon monoxide, you just want to make sure also that if you have gas fireplaces, that is cleaned, and make sure that it's free of the exhaust going out of the home and not coming back in, especially if it's been serviced. You should always get them serviced. Even wood-burning stoves or fireplaces need to be cleaned at least once a year, because I'm sure you've all heard of chimney fires. And if you have a shelter in place in your home and you're there for 3 or 4 days and you can't get out and you have no heat, people are going to burn their fireplaces, right? So you want to make sure that they're clean and that they're free for the exhaust to go up through the flue. So now we're down to food and water. So if the power goes out, some safety tips first. Identify and throw away food that you may not be safe to eat. Especially food that's been, if you have a flood and you've got food and the flood's up so high and it's covering the food, you don't want to eat that. You don't know what bacteria has been growing. It's definitely not a wise decision to eat anything that's been exposed to some elements. So color, odor, and texture. If it doesn't look right, smell right, feel right, look right, throw it away. When in doubt, throw it out. Clean and sanitize food contact surfaces. So you want to make sure that those are clean. Because if it's been exposed to flood water or exposed to the outside elements, now that stuff is on your counters, it's on your floors, so before you eat off your kitchen table that's probably been flooded over, you want to clean that. Some water safety tips. Let me get back to food. Does anybody know that you can leave your freezer full and the door closed and it will keep your food for 72 hours? 72 hours. It will keep your food cold for 72 hours. If it's full. If it's half full, it's 48 hours. Never full. So the least time, you should not open those doors but a very few times, just to really open it up. You know what you want, pull it out and grab it out. But it will keep for 24 hours if it's half full. 48 hours to 72 hours if you don't touch it and the freezer is full. Same thing goes with your refrigerator as well. So you want to throw away any food that looks like it's contaminated. Also water too as well. You want to pay attention to the boil water order, because there may be a boiling order from your mayor, your governor. The state may issue this. The town may issue this. And therefore, you want to make sure that you pay attention to that, because what happens is if you don't, and you drink the water that is unsafe, there are bacteria in there that you could get very ill. So pay attention to don't disregard any type of alert like that. It's for your own safety. So when in doubt, again, throw it out. So same thing with water. If it looks contaminated, if it doesn't look like it's clear, if you can't see through your glass and it's brown or discolored, you don't want to drink it, so just throw it away. So we come to health skills. Prescription safety. Can anybody give me some things that they would think about if they were to have their prescriptions and you had to load and go? What would you be cautious of? 2 things. Does it need to be refrigerated? Where am I going to throw my needles and syringes and medications out when I'm done with them? So you have to kind of look at where there might be kiosks in your town. We do have them here. We have them at the fire department and we have them at the police department. Know where those are, because you're going to have to be responsible to take them there and dispose of them.
But all pharmacies have that.
Pharmacies too. I think a couple pharmacies will take. They have to be in a closed, locked sharps container. They cannot be, here's the syringes, and they will not take any syringes even if they're in a package and they're new. They have to be in a sharps container. So if you have needles that you haven't used, if you're a diabetic, they have to be in a sharps container sealed before they will take them. So you want to make sure that you also have everything labeled too. So if you're taking your to-go kit, if you have a pill box, if you have a prescription, make sure, again, it's another document. You want to make sure that you take a picture of that document and upload it, because if you're going to need to refill that prescription and you can't get to your doctor, you have it there. Okay, and mostly your pharmacies will probably have it as well. So you want to make sure that you, oh yes, we have the device. Emergency planning for prescriptions. Does it need to be refrigerated? Does it need to be, just think ahead of time of what, if you had to leave your home, what would you do with your prescriptions? Where would you keep them? How would you keep them safe? So we have also The home medical devices for emergency power planning, you want to make sure that your devices such as breathing machines, if you have a powered wheelchair, a scooter, you can also call your town to see if there's a station. They may have like a center where it's a power station, they call it a power station, I don't know, it might be in a shelter, where you can go and you can power up your devices. And then also oxygen, and you want to make sure that you have everything with you. So again, something that you want to pack in your to-go bag. And this can be found on that website, the fact sheet Emergency Power. Very informative. A lot of these, you don't even think of some of this stuff. I mean, I could go off on the financial booklet and wow, really? I didn't know that. Oh yeah, I should keep that. So it's very good to just look that over and get yourself prepared. And again, you have your document holder, so you can take those copies and stick it right in that waterproof Ziploc. You should know first aid. You should take a class in first aid. Everybody should know, but this is my professional opinion only, but everybody really should know CPR and first aid. At least take a first aid CPR class, whether it's hands-on only, if that's what you want to do, fine, or if you want to take the advanced course in CPR and first aid. I highly suggest knowing it, because during an emergency, people are going to be completely stressed out. And they're going to, you might come across somebody that has a heart attack, or maybe needs, mouth to mouth, or maybe needs something else. And CPR anytime, or hands only, we went over that. Until help arrives, that Susan really touched base on that. We are having Until Help Arrives on April 3rd in this same room at, I believe it's 6 p.m. So car safety, you want to make sure that you have a supply kit for your car. This is different than that kit. That should be on any of those resources. Will show you the list of items that you should have in your car. Again, I keep a shovel in the wintertime, a portable shovel. I keep a flare. I make sure I have an extra set of windshield wiper blades. I mean, so just think about things that if you got stuck, say, let's go back, I'm really showing my age here, but blizzard of 78, we skied on 128. Can't do that today. You will be stuck and stranded in your car, or until the plow comes and plows you out. What would you do? So just think about what you would need in your car if you got stranded, especially if you're going somewhere on a long trip. Jumper cables, make sure that your gas tank is full. You want to make sure that you have washer fluid. And also you want to make sure that your car is wet before an emergency. They say a storm's coming 5 days from now. What's the one thing you want to make sure? How about getting your car checked, like from the mechanic? My oil's okay, my tires are okay, my brakes are working. So just think about things like that. So if you're not one of those people that constantly, and I wait till the light comes on before I have to go get my car serviced, and by then it's really due. So just make sure that you get your car inspected and it's checked out and it's ready to go. So if you had to go tomorrow, you know that you're safe in your vehicle. Okay. Blankets are definite. Blankets, first aid bag. I mean, just think of things that you would need if you were stranded in your vehicle, or to help somebody that was stranded in a vehicle as well. So you want to get your car prepared. You also want to make sure that you listen to the latest weather forecast. So I can't tell you how many people, again, we're talking about wearing coats in extreme cold, making sure you have scarves. I have an extra scarf, gloves, and a hat in my car, in my glove compartment, because I'm one of those that walk out the door with no coat on, and I'll get in my car and my coat's in the back seat. So I want to make sure that I'm prepared and have extra clothing. So you want to take control of your everyday health, know when to seek support. You want to get and stay connected and be prepared as a role model. As a previous medic, coming into somebody's home that has no family member around them and they're on the floor, unresponsive. The first thing I'm going to look at is if this is posted on the fridge. I did talk to Mike Patterson today, and he did mention that Burlington somewhat follows this, so they do have a little bit of this program. I'm giving these out to you so that you can fill this out and put the contact information. Whatever information is asking on that, please fill it out and tape it to your refrigerator door. So when the paramedics and the firefighters and the police come in, They know to look for this. They can contact one of your family members. Again, you want to make sure you label your contact, because if you put down 781, blah, 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 and you're not putting down who they're calling, they have no idea. Okay? And then also you want to put down your doctor's name. If you have prescriptions and you have a list of prescriptions, you do not have to put that on your refrigerator. You can put it in, again, in your document bag or wherever you want to put it. I find that a lot of people leave stuff in a brown paper bag and they put prescription medication and they leave it on their counter. Of course, you want to keep it away from children, but you want to put it on a counter so that if somebody comes in, they get the list of medications and now they have your contact information. And then everyday health, you want to stay focused on your aspects of your own health. So you want to make sure that you stay active and physical. So if you've been doing an exercise routine, keep doing that, because it's going to help with stress relief. Emotional stress is I can't tell you that exercise takes away a lot of that type of stress, especially when you're going through, you know, it's an emotional trauma to go through an emergency. And you want to make sure that you have healthy eating habits. You want to make sure that you, you know, that you have your flu shots and stay healthy with vaccinations. You want to make sure that you keep your medications the way they are ordered and prescribed by your doctor. That's how you should take your medication. So it's all about balancing your health and your wellness and making sure that you are staying healthy during this emergency. Financial, we went over that. You want to make sure that you ID your valuables. That's another thing, is a lot of people, like I said, I have bins downstairs, they're labeled what my valuables are. I have a picture and an inventory of what I own in my home, so that if your insurance company comes back and says to you, so how much is your inside your house, how much is that worth? Because you know the basic that they usually cover is between $10,000 and $20,000 for personal belongings. Okay, and a lot of people have a lot more than that. Some people have that in jewelry, you know, so you want to make sure that your valuables and whatever you have in certificates, anything goes in that document bag. If you want it replaced, it should be in there. And then mental health, you want to make sure that you stay, again, less stressed. You want to make sure that you find your support that you need, whether it's a family member or an outside source, to keep making sure that you are, you know, you're not crying all the time, that you're not going through all this stress. There are, you know, places and support groups and avenues that you can reach out to so that we can take some of the stress off. Not everybody's going to have a family member or a neighbor or a friend that's going to be there with them. They might be alone. So this is great. And then spiritual, if you go to church, great way to relieve stress and build with the community and go with your neighbors and be able to talk about what's going on. A lot of people don't like to talk about it and they feel, you know, well, it is what it is. Not necessarily, because you're in it together. You're in a neighborhood, and if you have a crisis in the neighborhood, you're going to see those people at church, or you're going to see them out in the neighborhood. So get to know your neighbors, get to know your community. It really, really helps, and it's a great support system. And like I said, resilience in the community helps through an emergency situation. So connectedness, you want to get to know your neighbors. We talked about that. Check on your neighbors during emergencies. There's been a lot of times where we have the elderly in their homes by themselves, no spouses, no friends, no family visiting, and they're stuck in an emergency situation. And they have, you know, they should be checked on. I have an elderly neighbor. I check on her. If I don't see her and her car doesn't leave, or, you know, something's not right, I make sure that if I don't get a hold of her, I get a hold of the neighbor. Hey, did you see so-and-so yesterday? So in extreme heat, extreme cold, any type of an emergency, you want to make sure that you touch base with your neighbors. And you know who your neighbors are. And that next door website is that perfect way of getting to know your neighbors. Have a block party, meet your neighbors. Anything can have a party, right? So you want to participate in organizations and programs in your community. This is a program, this is a community thing. You guys are doing wonderful. You're volunteering, you're helping out, you're reaching out, you're getting to know your neighbors, you're getting to know the community. This is where it starts. So you're my idols. You're actually role models for community and helping. Attend community meetings and events is what you're doing right now. And you're helping out with blood drives. You're helping out with the community flu that we do here in Burlington once a year. And you get to know the people in your town. You get to know, again, resilience, resilience, resilience. You want to make sure that you're informed and you can teach this to your family, your friends, and your neighbors. This, what I'm teaching, showing you right now. Seek support. These are some support. You can find these on a lot of the resource papers that I have given to you. Mental health services near you. Make sure that you know where the disaster, the suicide hotline, disaster distress hotline, they're fabulous support system. Massachusetts Department of Mental Health, they usually have counselors, like the suicide hotline, they have them on 24/7. So you want to make sure that if you know anybody that's in distress, if you think that they need 911, don't be afraid. Call 911. If you think somebody is over the edge and not right, please, you're their support system. Call 911. If you need it, these are your support right here. So the event of a natural or man-made disaster, Burlington has a primary operations center. And it's located in the Town Hall Annex basement building at 25 Center Street. And then we do have a primary emergency shelter that is in this building here, okay? Because we have a generator here, and we can generate both floors here, okay? We're gonna go to get ready, be safe, stay healthy, and take the pledge. You guys have all taken the pledge. You are volunteers, you're helping your community, so that is you taking the pledge tonight, enrolling other volunteers to help. But what steps will you take to join Burlington Preparing? And you all have done that by volunteering. And some of you may see your pictures in there. I kind of pulled that up off of our website. But the Burlington Volunteer Corps and the Medical Reserve Corps, community-based volunteer programs that you're involved in, and any type of response training that you do, even that's a group too. So if you're learning together, you will spread that word out to you. I hope that you will learn what you learned tonight, that you will take this to your family and your friends.